Hi guys, and welcome to Carol's Universe Tarot Readings from the Heart. So today's reading is for the zodiac sign of Taurus, and Taurus, this is your February 2015 general month ahead reading. So Taurus, your reading to me kind of screamed out decisions and choices that you're going to need to make during February. We've got a situation here, I think, where something has come to a natural end, potentially, or you're happy where you are. It's one of the two for me, potentially. And I'll show you why. The first two cards I'd like to show you are the World card and the King of Cups. Now, the World card is the last card in the Major Arcana suit of cards, okay? And this card really going right back from the Fool card right up to this card is the completion of a journey, okay? So to me this would signify there's a completion of something potentially for some of you guys. Now whether that be in a work project, or whether that be in a love relationship, or whether that be in any other area of your life, potentially there is a sense of completion about something, a sense of something ending, okay? And usually if we were to look at this card on its own, it would perhaps say something like, you know, you've completed something and you're very happy about it and now you're reaping the rewards and that type of thing. And potentially it could be the case that you're reaping the rewards of something and you're happy about it, because we have the King of Cups here, who is very sort of a... you wouldn't describe him as being a really happy character, but you describe him as someone who's really kind of solid and kind of like emotionally stable and really kind of diplomatic about stuff, and he's kind of like on a level, do you know what I mean? He's really kind of balanced. As his personality, like privately, he might be a little bit aloof, a little bit kind of, not standoffish, but you know, he might not be as verbal, okay, as some other cards, but he's kind of like, he knows what he's about and he's comfortable in his own skin. So for these two first cards, Taurus, it could be that you're just really kind of contented where you are at the moment. On the other hand, these two cards could be saying that something in terms of whatever this is, project, love relationship, blah blah, whatever it is, has reached an actual end. It's come to completion now, okay? And that you need to be kind of strong about that, okay? Which would suggest to me that potentially, you know, there is some sadness at whatever this is that's ended or has finished or has come to completion. You've come to the end of the road with something, and that potentially you need to be kind of strong around that, and you need to kind of be really mature about that. We then have the Wheel of Fortune. This is where it actually gets really interesting to me, because we've got the Wheel of Fortune and we've got the Two of Swords, and these two cards would suggest to me, with the Wheel of Fortune, it's all about kind of new phases, new beginnings, okay, of a type, okay, because the Wheel of Fortune is always changing, okay, so it's always sort of going around, so very much it's kind of like a temporary thing. So to my mind, this was suggesting that potentially something is coming in, or has come in for some of you guys, that is of a temporary nature, okay, potentially something, it's like a stroke of luck almost, or, you know, the Wheel of Fortune is very much about stuff that is fated, okay, stuff that is almost kind of surprises us, stuff that comes in unexpectedly, okay, but usually this card signifies something very positive that comes in unexpectedly, okay, something that you can kind of be quite joyous about. The Wheel of Fortune isn't always a card about good stuff coming in, it can be about stuff that's not so good coming in, okay, so it just depends on kind of where you are in your head sometimes. But more than often, it's a very positive card, and it does signify very sort of fortunate things coming in, you know, being a very favourable situation. It's usually, you know, refers to things from the universe potentially coming in. You know, the universe is sending us this stroke of luck, or sending us, you know, this job that we've wanted, or, you know, sending us a lover or something like that. You know, it doesn't have to be temporary, obviously, but really the ethos of this card is to enjoy that stroke of luck while it's there, because it's always changing and you never know what changes around the corner. But I'm not saying it's not something that won't last, I'm just saying that it's the general ethos of what the card means. But whatever this thing is, or potentially that's good that's come in, it would seem that there is a little bit of kind of trepidation about it from some of you guys potentially. Because we have the Two of Swords, and the Two of Swords is very much a card about kind of refusing to make a choice or a decision on something. You're kind of like blindfolding yourself. You're kind of like not wanting to look at, not wanting to make a choice about something. You know, you're kind of, this card can also signify things like stalemate, deadlock, arguments, hostility sometimes about a certain situation, you know. So if you've got the Two of Swords potentially in a love reading, you would potentially be looking at you and your partner kind of like not seeing eye to eye on something. You know, there's you know, a lock of horns there potentially. There's a choice that you need to make on something, but you're refusing to make that choice. It's almost like being stressed out by something, being stressed out by a choice. So when I look at the first two cards, the World card and the King of Cups, it suggests to me that potentially something has reached its fruition. Something has kind of come to completion, and you're needing to be kind of emotionally strong about that, you know, like the King of Cups is. Okay? It could have potentially been something that was quite testing, but you've kind of got through it. You know, you've kind of got through it, and you're happy that you've got through it, but now you need to kind of, you know, man up and be kind of really strong and you know, confident within yourself about it. You know, you need to be self-assured about it. But something else is here. Okay, maybe this is the universe rewarding you for whatever this is that's come to completion, that you're, you know, either really happy about, that, you know, and you're reaping the rewards through the Wheel of Fortune, or potentially there's a little bit of sadness around that, and you're needing to kind of like keep your reserves up, you know, your emotional reserves up. And I think it's more that potentially for some of you guys, because we have the Two of Swords here, and whatever this Wheel of Fortune is giving to you, whatever this fated thing is, whatever the wind has, whatever the slight change of energy is here, is kind of leaving you in a state of confusion, or a state of kind of, there's a certain blockage to it, you know, a certain kind of not wanting to look at it, not wanting to kind of acknowledge it, or, you know, not wanting to kind of face the truth or face the reality of it. We then had the Nine of Pentacles, interestingly enough, and the Ten of Pentacles. The Nine of Pentacles on its own is really a card about kind of building wealth, okay, but you build it off your own back, okay. This card can talk about kind of inheritances and windfalls, but it's really more about kind of independently building your own kind of kingdom. You know, it's about security and safety and stability, and kind of when you've built something to a certain point, financially wise, you can kind of take a rest and kind of relax, knowing that you've got what you want, and you know, your desires to a certain extent have been fulfilled. You have enough now to live off. You have enough now to kind of fulfill some of your dreams. You know, it's not the Ten of Pentacles, because the Ten of Pentacles is about larger amounts of money, and usually it can be about inheritances, you know, money going down through the generations. We see on this card here there is a man and a woman and a child, and an old person is sitting behind them. So this card is really more about shared resources, and this one is about sort of independent resources, you know. And I'm wondering, potentially, is this something to do with money? Is this something to do with some of you guys having some form of fortune coming, but it's yours, you know, and there's maybe some stalemate on how you're going to spend it amongst the family, you know. Maybe there's some kind of arguments going on there on what you're going to do with this luck that's come in for you potentially in February, or potentially even now, you know. What are we going to do with this kind of this stroke of luck that's come in? Is there some sort of argument or unwillingness to share that, maybe, within February? Okay, maybe this is you on the Nine of Pentacles. Little Miss or Mr. Independent, you know. And maybe this is the family, the Ten of Pentacles. So your own resources, and then versus the shared resources going on here, you know. Is there a blockage to that? Is there an argument with the Two of Swords around that? Is the Wheel of Fortune, has the Wheel of Fortune brought this in? And is there an argument, is there a stalemate around this? These two cards, on the other hand, can signify travel. Whenever you get sort of a Nine of Pentacles and it's coupled with a, you know, a card that has the number 10 on it, so it could be the Ten of Wands or Ten of Cups or Ten of Swords, You know, it could be any of the, as long as it's a number 10 on a suit, you know. It can signify travel. So, is this Wheel of Fortune, have you finished a project that you're kind of a little bit sad to let go of, you know? Is there something that you started and you finished quite successfully and you're needing to be strong about finishing it because you really enjoyed it, and then something else comes in for you and it requires you to travel, but you're not sure whether you want to do that because you've got your family to think about, you know? You've built up through your own resources, you've built up the family's resources. You know? But you're being asked to travel for something potentially, and it's something that you don't want to do. There is somebody asking you to be less independent, you know? There's somebody asking you to share more of your time with the family. So far you've been able to kind of, you know, do things quite independently on your own. Here is you on your own, and here is you now with the family. It's not so much about you anymore, it's about others, you know? Is that leaving you in the state of confusion here? Through these cards, it's definitely telling me there's a decision that some of you guys are not wanting to make potentially about something. And is that decision that you're not wanting to make, is that based on the fact that there's been some completion somewhere, the ending of something, you know? Does the Wheel of Fortune signify release from something, for example? You're being released from something that has run its course. And you're needing to be really mature about it and really kind of strong about it emotionally. The Wheel of Fortune has released you from it, you know. It's a new beginning, it's a new phase of life, but you're unsure about it, you're a bit worried about it. But there's a lot of abundance there for you, you know. The last two cards we have here are the Queen of Wands and the Four of Cups. Now the Four of Cups again is a choice card, you know, it's about choices, but it's about kind of being dismissive of those choices, you know. And this is also a card about feeling frustrated, feeling a sense of frustration, a sense of kind of, you know, I've had it, you know, I can't be bothered with this, so I'm just going to be kind of passive about it, I'm just going to kind of ignore it. And this again would fit in with the Two of Swords. They're both cards about being very passive, not wanting to make choices, not wanting to kind of step up to the plate and say, okay, I've made a decision on something. You know? But then we have the Queen of Wands coupled with this. The Queen of Wands is a very, she's a very, very busy lady, you know. She's really confident, you know. She's the type of woman that can just kind of, as I've always said, hold a baby in one hand and type 10 emails on the other, you know. She's very, very resourceful. Okay. She's very, how can I say? She is very independent. I'm not sure whether this person signifies you guys, you know. The one suit doesn't really represent the earth signs, okay? It represents fire. It's, you know, it's Leo, it's Aries, it's Sagittarius. It doesn't represent Taurus. But the energy of her, it doesn't mean that the energy of her can't represent who you are. So are you the person that's really independent, you know? Are you the person that's kind of afraid of losing your independence? Is that what this is about? Are you the person that's afraid of losing your family? You're being asked to do something else. Give more of your time to something else. The benefits might be really, really good, but do you really want to do that? You know, are you having to make a choice on that? Are you feeling it's difficult to make a choice on that? Because what stands out to me most about this reading is these two cards. Your Two of Swords and your Four of Cups. One is a challenge, representing some sort of challenge. The one is representing the emotion. So your emotions to me are being challenged in something, you know. You're refusing to make a choice. You're kind of remaining passive. Both people on this card are sitting quite still. They're not moving. On a lot of the cards they don't move, but they show some form of emotion. in both of these things, they don't really show anything. They're kind of sitting like statues. They're refusing to move. They're refusing to make choices. They want to just kind of stay as they are at the moment, you know. So is this the case of wanting to stay as you are? Do these two first cards represent that you're happy as you are? You have the World card and the King of Cups. Emotional stability. The World card, completion, happiness, victory, success. So are you feeling really successful in your life at the moment? But something comes in and you really don't want to move with it. You know, it looks like a good idea, but you're confused. You're kind of like, there's a little bit of a brick wall there for you with this thing that's coming for you. Potentially it could involve travel with these two cards. Or it could involve giving something of yourself, potentially. It's no longer just about you, it's about other people now. Do you want to maintain that independence that you've already built up, potentially? Or are you still refusing to make that decision, you know? You're happy where you are. Well, not so much happy, you're just comfortable where you are, you know? You're stable where you are. You don't want to kind of rock that stability. So guys, that's a really interesting reading, Taurus, for the month of February. I certainly think with this reading, the main thing is that for some of you guys, potentially in February, or even going on from now, you don't want to make a choice about something. You're kind of being quite passive about it, you know. There's either something that's come to completion and something else is coming in, something else is being offered that you're kind of like not wanting to go for some reason. It could be potentially because you have loss of your own independence and having to give something over to somebody else. You know, instead of, maybe it's a case of that you work on your own, you know. You work for yourself. Projects come to completion. You need to be emotionally stable about that because you need to kind of think about what the next move is. And then something potentially comes in for you, but you're confused about it because it means losing your independence and having to sort of give stuff over to other people or someone else or whoever these people are. Could mean an increase in wealth. But still, you might be just happy and quite confident in where you are at the moment. Maybe the money doesn't matter so much. You're kind of being really passive about it, you know. So that's a really interesting reading, Taurus. Thank you so much for joining me. As I always say, if this resonates with you, just, you know, drop me a line, drop me a comment and let me know, because I'd be really interesting to see what your comments are on this reading. But I certainly found it really interesting, and yeah, there's a lot of food for thought.